But that's going to wrap up Stand and Deliver. So let's get into the big one. Let's get into WrestleMania, shall we? So WrestleMania, once again, across 2 nights. We had 15 matches in total across the 2 nights. So, matches in night 1, we had Austin Theory defending against John Cena for the U.S. Championship. We had the men's showcase tag team thing. We had Seth Rollins against Logan Paul. We had Trish Stratus, Lita, and Becky against Damage Control. We had Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio against each other. We had Rhea Ripley going after the SmackDown Women's title against Charlotte Flair. We had Pat McAfee against The Miz. And then we had Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn against the Usos. So let's break down night 1, shall we? I will say this right off the bat to get it off my chest. Night 1 a whole lot better than night 2, but not for the reasons you think. So, night 1, I thought overall, very good, very exciting, good moments. And then the lows weren't super terrible, you know. So, overall, solid night. The Theory and Cena match, I thought was fine. Nothing too exciting here. I will say Cena was kind of being a little showboaty at the beginning, kind of being a little cocky. So, I don't know if that fed into his loss, as Theory would retain his United States Championship. I will also give a shout out to Cena. That was awesome, having the Make-A-Wish kids as part of his entrance. I thought that was a nice touch. We'll get onto that later in night 2, how the entrances were really great. But just a special touch there. I will admit, seeing the Make-A-Wish kids, I was like, uh-oh, Cena's winning. Which, you know, there would have been a way to work it where if Cena did win, there's a lot of people talking about this, so I can't take all that much credit for it. Of like Cena wins, then does an open challenge, then a new person comes in, or a returning person comes in, and we can go that way. But I think this was the right call with Theory winning. I think we want to keep pushing Theory, give him a backing. I think if he lost here to Cena, not that it's the burial or it's over or anything like that, it's just, it's another dip down, and it's harder to get behind another person, or at least in believability or like a threat from a bad guy perspective, if he lost here. With him winning here, yes, he did have to cheat. I understand that, whether it was biting an ear, biting hands, or the low blow to eventually win it before the A-Town down. I get that, but it's the slimy heel tactics where, you know, you want to boo them, so that's a good move instead of just like, I don't care about this guy that's supposed to be this big deal. With him beating Cena, he can constantly brag about that or gloat about it. And obviously Cena's no joke. He's got the pedigree behind him of his history. But I think that was the right move to have Theory go over here. Personally, as a Theory fan, great too. So nothing too special, but Theory will win there against Cena for the first match. Next match was surprisingly a lot of fun. We had the men's WrestleMania showcase. So we had the Street Profits versus Braun Strowman and Ricochet versus Alpha Academy versus the Viking Raiders. And this was a lot better than it should have been, to be honest. Excuse me. Just fun. A lot of good spots. We had Chad Gable giving Braun Strowman a German suplex, was impressive. We had Ricochet flipping and dipping all over the place with 2 shooting star presses. Unfortunately, the second one led to his demise and the eventual Street Profits win. We had Angelo Dawkins knocking out Braun from his little run around the ring train thing. You had Chad Gable crushing it, as always. A little surprising that no Maximum Male Models interference or Maxine with Otis or Otis. I will admit that was a little surprising. I wish the Raiders got a little bit more. They had, I think, a double team move or something. They cleared the ring. They did this little pose with Valhalla. They kind of missed the timing or whatever, so they had to kind of awkwardly sit there while Braun set up. And then Braun took them out. So I would say that was probably the down point of that Fatal 4-Way, was Raiders looking a little weak, or at least not getting a lot of action that I can remember. But overall, the match was fun. Match was a fun time. I really enjoyed it. At least in Mania's past, like, this would be a spot where there's not a lot of faith as a viewer, from my perspective, put behind it, and just because it feels like it's thrown together. But I will say these 4 tag teams did a great job, and was a good. They kept a good momentum and good feeling behind the flow of the night. Next was going to be Seth freaking Rollins against Logan Paul, and another solid match by Logan Paul. Can't take that away from him. Was very goofy in this match, but I like how he took the goofiness and we did good things with this match. And what I mean by that is, he's got his Prime energy drink. I don't know what it is. We played into that. He did the whole zipline entrance. He's got the Prime bottle with him, and he's got an actual Prime bottle mascot with him. And as soon as we, Lady and I watching it, we saw that, we're like, the bottle's getting involved in this match somehow. And they did. And Papa Griffin chat, what in the blue hell was Seth wearing? Seth just being Seth, going all balls to the wall, crazy with the outfits, very entertaining with that. It was very intricate and interesting. I don't know why he had the Jeff Jarrett type chest piece underneath there, just to lose it in a matter of seconds. But yeah, quite interesting. Just kind of adds another layer to like his character of just like what absurd thing is he going to be wearing today. But yeah, solid match between the two. Like I said, the Prime bottle did get involved. It was not any wrestler. It wasn't Jake Paul, which we joked about, but I didn't think Jake would stoop down to those levels. But it was fellow YouTuber KSI. I have no idea who that guy is. In the bottle, we got a setup for a table splash onto Rollins by Paul as KSI was taunting him. But I will say I do appreciate this. Like I said before, they steered into the skid. Paul knew, like, if this is his last match, who knows? This, there's rumors of his contract and stuff like that. He knew, like, let's have fun with it. It doesn't matter if I lose, but let's, make some moments out of this and make me as a heel look like an ass. So sets up for the splash, does the whole Prime spit, Triple H on the corner. While KSI's taunting, Seth pulls him down, and Logan mid-jump goes, oh crap, and splashes KSI. I thought that was brilliant. Like I said, it feeds in the storyline. I don't like Logan Paul as a person, but I appreciate from a wrestling standpoint and a show standpoint, it seems like he gets it and isn't all like, oh, I'm Logan Paul, I have 1 million subscribers, blah blah blah. We got to make myself look like the shit. He's fine with making an ass out of himself. And yes, Seth winning here, good move, great there. And yeah, Seth did his job of obviously helping Logan, making a good match overall. So thumbs up there, good job by them. We hit a little bit of a dip here, in my opinion, with the ladies 6-woman tag team match. Trish, Lita, Becky against Damage Control, Bayley, Dakota, and Io. Love Damage Control. I wish they had a little bit more strength behind the group in terms of booking. But unfortunately, it just hasn't really gotten any momentum since their SummerSlam debut, and it sucks. I know they're 2-time tag champs. I get that. No, you can't take that away. But this should have been a little bit stronger of a group than it has ended up being. A lot of rumors they're going to break up either tonight or either the night of WrestleMania, which didn't happen, or the Monday Night Raw after, which as of recording, it's Monday, so maybe it is happening. I don't want that to happen, but that's a selfish thing of just, I like all the talents, and I want them to do well. I just wanted more for the group. If they do split up, hopefully whoever comes out of this, they can get pushed to the next level, whether it's Io and Dakota staying as a tag team or single run or whatever it is. Just want the best for those three, selfishly. But yeah, the match was nothing special. Becky did a lot of work there. Damage Control with a lot of tags which is good. They're a trio, let's get trio movements in there. But this was one of the flaws of Mania. And this could have been just me and my dumb brain noticing these things. This match and the main event, there were tags that were happening where the legal competitor didn't stay in. What I mean by this is there was occasionally times where they're trying to do this triple move, right? It starts with, I don't know, let's say Io. Io tags Bayley. Bayley comes in, tags Dakota. They do their triple threat move, or triple move. So technically Dakota's the legal competitor. And then Bayley, the middle tag, goes for a pin or something like that, or stays in there as the legal competitor. And it's one of those things like a normal general audience, that's not something you're going to be watching out for or paying attention to. But that was something I noticed it a few times in this match between Damage Control. And I noticed it with the Usos later for the main event. Like, Jay would tag in Jimmy, and then Jay's going for a pin while Jimmy is the legal man. I'm like, what are we doing? Small thing, small criticism. Just noticed that. But Becky does most of the work here. Trish came in for a little bit. Lita, now this could have been me as a non-wrestler. Never done it at all, so, not really super fair of me to criticize, I guess. Lita looked a little rough, and not in terms of when she was doing actual moves or bumps or anything like that. It was kind of her footwork or her mobility. It looked weird, and I don't know if it was just too many steps or she couldn't get the speed that normally we see of getting into a run or getting into a jog. Something looked weird. So, granted, her and Trish are Hall of Famers, legends. This isn't something they're doing normally or regularly as they used to, and compared to the other ladies, so, practice might not be there. Just something I noticed. It was ooh, that looks a little rough. But the good guy, quote-unquote, team here is going to win with Stratus, Lita, and Lynch, defeating Damage Control. No turns as of WrestleMania night. This would have been a nice win for Damage Control. Kind of get them back in the right setting or mindset or whatever it is. But unfortunately, the good guy team will win here. A lot of rumors, like I said, with a breakup or a heel turn of someone else. Rumored around. We'll just have to see where this goes from here for these 6 competitors. Then we get Mysterio versus Mysterio. Match overall, good. Another down point, for me personally, of continuity. Didn't Dom get out of jail? Why is his entrance coming from jail? What? I thought it would have made a little bit more sense if Dominic was the one to come out in the lowrider, use Eddie's music, kind of taunt that way, be more of the, spoiled piece of crap there. I get it. Ray doing it, paying homage, that was fine. But yeah, Dom, the biggest thing for me was Dom's been out of prison for a few weeks, and for some reason he's being escorted by the police for this. Match was fine overall. If you really start thinking about the story, I get it, Dominic's been a scumbag these past couple months and been really causing trouble for Ray, and Ray's been holding it back, self-control. But when you start really thinking about it, oh, you don't respect me, so I'm gonna beat my son down. Granted, I know he's an adult, but just thinking about that from a farther back perspective, oh, your kids don't listen, fucking whip their ass. It's just mixed feelings on the story. I liked the build, but that was something that was definitely discussed as we were watching it of this could be seen in a wrong way. But fine match. Ray does beat Dominic. We did have Damian Priest and Finn Balor not really interfere, but they did come down to the ring at one point to kind of observe. LWO, or at least the new version of LWO, Legado del Fantasma, did come in and take care of them and get them out of there later on in the match. But yeah, Ray would win here, celebrate with Aaliyah and his wife in the ring afterwards. Fine. Then we got perhaps the best ladies match of the weekend. If not the best, then the second best. Rhea Ripley going after the SmackDown Women's Championship against Charlotte Flair. And man, can I tell you, I was on the edge of my seat the entire time because I had no idea how this was going to go because just of how I've been screwed in the past. The ladies did great. Crushed it. They laid their shots into each other. We had some good, high spots. We had a scary high spot. Jesus Christ. I don't know if Rhea was holding too tight. I don't know if Charlotte got enough to rotate. Landing directly on her face. Thank God Charlotte seems okay on that German suplex, but that could have been a lot worse. But in the end, Rhea with the avalanche riptide beating Charlotte for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Yes! Getting her revenge from this long-term storytelling of her defending the NXT Championship against Charlotte in the pandemic Wrestlemania. Whew! Really great. Really, really great. And yeah, the crowd was definitely behind her. Weird to kind of go as Rhea's the heel and Charlotte's the face, but the crowd was totally opposite of that. Great match by them. I think this was the first time that afterwards, obviously after all the stress and all that, I was like, damn, Charlotte, I like you in terms of that. I know she's always been, athletic, put on a great match, always had respect for her there, but I'm just like, it was the Roman thing of the past of like, you're always, or the Brock thing, you're always in the title picture, or you have the belt on you, oh my God. So I was a little nervous in that respect going into the match of like, this could fucking go wrong. But Rhea won here. Glad to see it. We'll have to see the future of the Judgment Day now. As yeah, Rhea totally over, as Papa Griff's saying in chat. We'll have to see if they trim the fat again with Finn, or with Rhea going to SmackDown. What does that mean for the entire Judgment Day? Because now they're on two brands technically. Not that we really do brands, kind of. Who knows? We'll have to see. Then we get our kind of impromptu filler match as the host of WrestleMania, The Miz, and also Snoop Dogg is a host. I don't know when we announced that. I knew The Miz was announced. But anyways, they're both here to announce that there's 80 Shaman fans, 80,000, not 80 fans, in the arena for night one. Whoopee! And then Snoop's like, oh, social media, you put out an open challenge. Bullshit. I didn't see anything on social media. Well, Miz said the open challenge, whatever. And Pat McAfee comes out. Now, when you think it's Stone Cold Steve Austin, just because everybody and their mom on the internet is like, oh, he's going to show up. Oh, he's going to show up. McAfee's not really the best replacement, quote unquote. I like McAfee. I think he's great on commentary. I think this match was a big waste of time. It says on Wikipedia, yeah, because that's the source I'm using. It says on Wikipedia it was a 3-minute and 40-second match. It felt a lot longer than that. It felt like a waste of time. It was just a moment to get George Kittle, football man, in here to interfere, do his thing. Dumb. I appreciate The Miz. I get it. This was a comedy spot. I get that it was just, beat up on the annoying heel. I would have preferred if this was a Stone Cold, just come in, stunner, everybody, wah, something like that. I would have liked that a lot more. I hate to say it, and you could probably say this for a lot of wrestlers, but like, you see one Pat McAfee match, you see all the Pat McAfee matches. His best one was probably against Adam Cole during the pandemic when he did his debut, and he was teaming with Butch and, what's the other guy? Danny Burch. Like, that match was probably the best. Probably because Adam Cole, baby. No, I'm just kidding. But he does all the same moves. He does the backflip when they push him off. He does the jump up and the superplex. It's all the same. I know you could say that about a lot of wrestlers, but it's like, for me, it's lost its steam. Like I said, love him on commentary. I think he's very entertaining there. I don't need to see this again. So, even the crowd seemed a little mixed, and I'm not sure if that's from a football perspective, because it was a football stadium, and I don't think he played in LA. I think he was on a different team. I don't know. But whatever. It was there. Gave us a little bit time to break up before the main event of Owens and Zayn versus the Usos. Before we get into that match, I am also going to take a little sidebar going back to the Fatal 4-Way men's tag team match. What was Titus O'Neil doing out there on commentary? What the fuck was that? As far as I know, he's never on commentary. And it just came out there randomly. I like Titus, but that was a weird spot for him. And it's a weird spot later on in night 2. But I was just like, why? Getting into our main event, Owens and Zayn going after the tag team titles of the Usos. 4 gentlemen did a great sequence in their match, really making you kind of hold on to the edge of your seat. Are the Usos going to retain? Are the good guys going to conquer the evil here? But they did fantastic. We had our first kick out of the one and done by Zayn. Good saving moments from either Zayn or, Owens, not letting the other down in terms of their friend, their brother, their whatever. Good stuff there. Like I said, the kick out of the one and done, the haluva kicks to Jay, and the little symbolism there of, the symbolism there of like the turmoil of their relationship with the whole bloodline stuff. Owens and Zayn would win the tag team champions here, so they're now the new undisputed champions. We get a nice, good little send-off of happy feelings there, and we start to see the cracks and crumbles of the bloodline. Or so we think. So yeah, that'll wrap up night 1. Night 2! Ooh, rough start for night 2. Big rough start. We start with Brock Lesnar against Omos. I literally timed this match. I was like, if this makes it more than 5 minutes, I will be impressed. 4:53, ladies and gentlemen. 4:53. Stupid. And maybe this is just me. I don't give 2 shits about this match in any way, shape, or form. And it's not just Brock and Omos. It's mainly Brock. It's Brock and any big dude. And, I don't care. I'm glad they got this out of the way. I'm glad they ripped the Band-Aid off. I'm not expecting, a 5-star classic between these guys or anything, or a 20-minute scrap. It's just I don't know, do something different than the last match. I'll agree, Omos did look good for a bit, but still, he's one of these characters, they brought him in maybe 2 years ago at this point. Could be longer, I don't know, time's weird. And he hasn't done anything. It's I'm big and tall, and that's all he's got. And granted, he's gotten better since when he first started, but it's one of these things we gotta put something behind him of some kind of story or something. It's okay. It's like Strowman when Strowman first showed up. Yeah, he's with the Wyatt family, right? But when he started doing his own things, he's just beating up local talent. We get the whole James Ellsworth thing. I didn't care, and eventually we got some momentum behind Brock that we did care. But Omos, we have nothing so far. And whatever. So we got that out of the way. We ripped the Band-Aid off. So we're already starting, in terms of me, low note. I know some other people loved it because it's just the big guys and it was a short match. I get it. Then we get probably the worst match, unfortunately, of WrestleMania. No, it's okay. Second worst match of... Okay, second or third. Sorry, I'm going to keep bumping it up a little bit. A match of WrestleMania weekend, and it's the Fatal 4-Way WrestleMania Showcase for the ladies. Now, pause. It's not just because they're lady wrestlers and oh my god. No, I love most of the talents in this match. Raquel's great. Liv's great. Shotzi's great. Chelsea's great. Who am I missing here? Did I say Raquel? Yeah, whatever. There's a lot of potential in this ring. A lot of potential. This match sucked. Now, Also, we've been poisoned. We've been whatever. We've been screwed over in the past by matches like this of multi-team matches, and it performs horribly and goes wrong. This match, no mess-ups. No mess-ups, no botches, nothing. So, hey, we got a win here. But we've been screwed in the past. Maybe it was a year or two ago. Remember when Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke were in that match, and Ruby Riott and I think Liv Morgan, and I don't remember the other two teams. That match sucked. So many botches, so many things did not look great. Disgusting. This match, like I said, no botches. We had some good spots. We had some fun spots. Wasn't satisfying at all. Ronda and Shayna win it. Duh. Everybody and their mom predicted that Ronda and Shayna are going to win this match. Whatever. What did they do in this match? Absolutely nothing. I think Shayna was maybe in there for a second. No, I'm sorry. She wasn't even in there for a second. All 6 of the other competitors come up and are like, oh, we're going to come in the ring. We're going to fight you. We hate you. You're evil. Duh, whatever. They're heels. They're supposed to. They stand up on the apron. They act all tough. We're MMA. Shake out. And then something happens where somebody gets attacked, and then they jump off the apron, and then they're just, poof, smoke bomb ninja. They're out of there. Whole sequence of events happens, whatever. Then at the end of the match, Ronda comes in, submits Shotzi, and then Shayna slides in with one boot on. Hopefully Shayna's not hurt. If she is, hopefully speedy recovery. Very weird. Like, they didn't do anything in the match. They just won it. What was the point of that 8.5 minutes? Now, I did talk to Lady about this extensively after.
Yes.
Once again, there's a lot of potential in that match, in that ring for that match. There is no reason to care from someone who's watching, kind of, and a general audience more. There's no reason to care for any of those 8 characters in there. I have a hope for more of the talents because I have that longevity with them. From watching from the NXT Black and Gold brand to their main roster debuts is like, oh, I've seen glimpses of hope for these people. I've seen Raquel crush it in NXT, and I see the potential she has. Liv, I've seen the rise, and we get this kind of start and stop motion with her. Shotzi, yeah, there were a couple mess-ups here and there, but she's got a cool character, and she's also done well for herself over the years. Chelsea's been on this weird, momentum kick, and then gone, and then now she's back. So I get it. She's a newer character, so we got to give her some time. Sonya's a general manager who also wrestles from time to time. What? Shayna's never been aggressive since she lost to Becky at Pandemic Mania. Obviously, she crushed it in NXT, 2-time women's champ, a lot of good matches there. Came in, lost the Royal Rumble at her debut on the main roster, then destroyed the Elimination Chamber, and then, lost. Ronda, I get, is a name. I want to like her, but she's kind of a scumbag. So, yeah. And then Natalya. Natalya is solid in the ring, but over the 15 years she's been in WWE, she's never had a character that's interesting. It's just like, you're there. And, I appreciate that she's there and solid and reliable for at least some kind of match, but, there's no reason to care. So, hopefully with post-Mania, with a refresh, the ladies division definitely needs a big overhaul in terms of, stories, investments. It seems like there's only a select few that we've really invested with, whether it was the 4 horsewomen, Rhea, Bianca, that have gotten this push. And I'm not saying everybody's got to be world champion, but we should care at least a little bit with the talent. I'm not sure how you fix that. I can't come in here and be like, well, this is how you do it, point 1, point 2. But it could be give them more time on TV. More we see them, more we care. And 2, give them reps. More TV time, more matches, they get better, the chemistry's better. It's not just this thing of like, oh, we're fighting. Okay, you're going to do this dive, and we're going to set up for however long. It's easy to say, a little harder to do in practice, but that was why this was personally a low note for me in terms of matches. So, we're already off to another down on night 2 in the momentum. So didn't make me feel great there. But that's when we started the rise for night 2, as we had Gunther defending his Intercontinental Championship against Sheamus and Drew McIntyre. What does Big E say? Big men slapping meat. Holy crap, these guys are laying in their shots. Great triple threat by these guys. A lot of heavy chops, a lot of heavy slams, kicks, whatever. Great job there by all 3 competitors. Happy that Gunther retained. Kind of a little surprised too. I thought there'd be some kind of swerve where, Sheamus would pin Drew or vice versa. But great job there. No heel turn from Drew, which was also kind of, a little surprising. But yeah, Gunther was very happy with his win and not just nonchalant about it. But yeah, glad he's, getting the push he's getting and obviously continuing his run. It's kind of almost going to be another thing of like, who's the one to finally topple Gunther. Obviously in the past with NXT UK, we've seen moments of, crazy matches and Walter, formerly, falling to a Tyler Bate or a Pete Dunne or an Ilya Dragunov. I wonder who's going to be the one main roster-wise that will take him down. And yeah, some Imperium love with that intro. They did great as well. So yeah, Triple Threat was great. Gunther will retain his IC title and keep that crazy reign going. Next, we're on to the ladies match. This is another one that it's either the top ladies match or it's the second one. Bianca Belair versus Asuka. Bianca having a great entrance, similar to Cena with the kids, having the dance troupe. That was really cool to see them out there and get the shine. But yeah, these ladies did great. Not that we should have expected anything differently. Really not a whole lot of build to the story, but the ladies crushed it. We had the mist. And Bianca would eventually retain with the Kiss of Death. Had one little slip up with the top rope pulling the hair. I think that was supposed to be pulling the hair into the code breaker, but Bianca slipped off. We, worked around it and still did the code breaker there. But yeah, just the ladies did a great job. I can't think of anything big spot wise. There were a lot of moments where Asuka was able to get her submissions in, whether it was, the arm bar or some kind of lock, whatever it is. All good there. Papa Griffin chat, was this just a checkbox for Bianca? I think so. I mean, Asuka's always going to be a good opponent for whoever she steps in the ring with, and she hasn't competed against Asuka in quite some time. So this was one of those matches that I could have seen going either way, and I would have been happy with either result. Like, I like Bianca, I like Asuka. Obviously, Bianca's been kind of on a tear with her title match, and Asuka recently coming back at the Rumble with the kind of revised Kana gimmick from her Japan days. I could have seen like, oh, this is going to be another upswing for Asuka with the new character, put some momentum behind her, but unfortunately it's not. Pancake in Discord also asked about this, like, why can't they let Asuka win at Mania? I'm trying to think if Asuka has won at Mania. I want to say she has. I know she didn't win her first Mania because Charlotte had to fucking beat her undefeated streak after winning the inaugural Women's Royal Rumble match. But yeah, I'm not sure why Asuka doesn't get the big win there. In terms of like the new character, it seems like they're trying to set up a WrestleMania streak for Bianca, and the only reason, like I heard some rumors about it prior to this weekend, but the only reason it seems like I would put some validation behind those theories is Bianca in that backstage interview did really point out like this is 3 now. So she's on a bit of a streak with first beating, who'd she beat in the first year? It wasn't Sasha. Sasha was year... No, I'm sorry. Sasha was year 1. Then it was Becky. And now it's Asuka. So she is on that 3-peat. I'm not sure we have to do a streak, but that seems to be the route that they are going. So we'll see. But this was one, like I said, either way that it ended, I would have been very happy with. They did a great job, especially with no build to the story. But yes, Bianca will retain her Raw Women's Championship. Then we get the hosts coming out again. Hey, guess what? We had another 80,000, and it's 161,000 over 2 nights. Ah! And the Miz all pissy, like, yo, bro, why'd you call me out for that, match? And Snoop's like, my bad. And he's like, well, I'm pissed off at you because you're a dick. I'm going to have someone fight you. And I'm like, is this where Stone Cold comes out? And then he mentions something about LA. And I'm like, oh, is this where LA Knight comes out? And then I was like, oh my God, is it anyone else that I could possibly care about coming out? Nope. No. He got the money. Shane O'Mac comes out and me going, I can't get a solid hit on my head. I don't okay, I have nothing against Shane O'Mac. If the rumors of not last Rumble, but the Rumble before that are fucking true, where he was kind of drama queen back there, that's my only real negative about him. So anyways, he comes out, he does this shuffle thingy, we start a match between the two, pop, 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 does his shitty ass punches, now then goes into the runarounds, ducks, Miz goes over top of him, then bounces, then he jumps over the Miz, and a great jump, I will say, it was a very good jump, lands, there goes the quad, rips, and Shane O'Mac is out of the match. Ah! In all seriousness, hopefully he recovers well, in a speedy recovery. Oof, that was another rough spot of the night. But it possibly gave us the best WrestleMania improv we've ever seen.
Of all time.
As Snoop Dogg, just without missing a beat, comes in, decks the Miz in the face, and gives the people's elbow, not great people's elbow, but a very entertaining people's elbow, onto the Miz, gets a quick win. I will give all the props to Snoop and Miz there. Great improv there. I know Miz taking kind of the hit there, but very entertaining. Yes, legit injury. Yeah, Shane jumps and immediately his leg ripped. Yes, it was legit injury. You could tell by the cameras very focused on Miz, not focusing on the injury at all. There's video clips of Shane having to get assisted out into the backstage area. Yeah, it was not great. So, I mean, very unfortunate that happened. Saved us from a Shane O'Mac match. My bad. And gave us this amazing improv moment between Snoop. Very entertaining. So, applause all around for that. Good on them. Then we got our Hell in the Cell match. We got Edge taking on the Demon Finn Balor. And can I just say... We'll talk about advertisement at the end. I almost cut myself off. Can I just say how awesome it is to have the Demon back after however long and that weird Roman match, and to have the original Finn Balor music back while he's doing the whole hand-raising lights thing. Just, it made my heart happy. The match overall was fine. Finn going a little comedic with the Demon being all, whatever. That was a little bit weird. We got the cool Brood entrance from Edge. Yes, no Gangrel. I don't know what the fuck happened there and where all the rumors of Gangrel showing up was, or Christian. That might have been just pie in the sky. But we got Slayer playing him out. We didn't get a live Alter Bridge performance. Damn it. They were in Anaheim the night before, and they finished their tour. Motherfuckers, go to Mania. Beep, 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 beep. Come on. But nonetheless, good match by the two. Unfortunately, Finn takes a heavy blow to the head with a ladder. I remember saying to Lady, I was like, is that paint on the floor? Wait a minute. No, that's not paint. Finn was cut open pretty bad. Apparently, there are photos of it around. Also, apparently, he had to get a numbing agent right at ringside, and they literally stapled his head and the wound right there. Yeah. So Finn is a badass. I know he didn't want to get that taken care of. He just wanted to get right back in the match, and going back in there afterwards. I think the match, rumors, was supposed to go a little bit longer than it did, but good on both of them for once again taking care of what they needed to with the medical staff. I know it's a little weird of like, oh, you're breaking up the momentum of the match. Safety's number one. I'm glad it was able to be taken care of. Hopefully Finn's okay and there's no concussion problems. What's up? Did you see something?
I just looked
oh, you looked up the gash? Well, I mean...
Bro, his head is split.
Oh, okay. Well, it was a very bad hit, according to Lady. Thank you. So glad he's okay. Hopefully there's no concussion problems. I think the two put on a great match. You had the coup de grace from the side of the cage through the table missing. We had the concerto to finish. I think this was the correct move of Edge winning and conquering his demons, and the Judgment Day thing. The only thing that, in my opinion, was the downside of this, besides obviously the injury and the gash, I think this story should have wrapped up a whole lot sooner. Not in terms of like the match length, but like probably a few months ago. This felt like it was going on for a long, long time. That's just a personal thing. But I think the competitors themselves did a great job. I know some people are joking about the platform. Excuse me. Built in for Finn. I don't care. I did like his agility and of just like, I'm on the top rope. Nah, fuck it. And jumps onto the cage wall like a spider monkey. Like, very good. No problems. But yeah, I know it's a little silly that they built an extra piece for this move, but yeah, it was fine for me. Glad he didn't have any leg injury. I can see how that could have gone wrong in 8 ways. Just jumping, almost straight-legged into a table to miss. But glad that all worked out. And then we get on to our main event, and let's talk about controversial endings, shall we? We have Roman Reigns defending his undisputed WWE Universal Championship against Cody Rhodes, the American Nightmare. And I'm not going to lie, I'm sure everybody and their mother thought Cody Rhodes was going to win. Well, guess what? He didn't win. In a shocking twist of events, Roman Reigns does retain the championship with a little help from the Bloodline, a little interference by the Usos, a little interference by Owens and Zayn, a little interference a few times by Solo Sikoa. So yes, do acknowledge your tribal chief. He does retain here after a Samoan spike from Solo and a spear. But I will say the two put on a solid match throughout. A lot of high drama between it. A lot of good spots from, a table spot to spears to Superman punch to the guillotine choke to escaping the guillotine choke to multiple crossroads, disaster kick, pedigree. The two put on a great match. Once the spear happened and the pin was happening, my initial reaction to it and the 3 count hitting was just... Because the whole time during the match, I'm explaining to Lady, like, WrestleMania, they tend to, want to end the show on a good note, send the fans home happy, and maybe I was talking my ass, because the bad guy won. And then the 3 count happened, I'm like, what? Was it, what? Just confusion. No rage, no joy, no nothing, just a pure, huh. Because I had literally, along with the go home happy thing, I literally just explained, or maybe earlier in the match, to Lady, like, yeah, it seems like Cody's going to win because it's this whole story of, like, his dad, and his dad never achieved the WWE Championship, but he's going to do it for his dad, and he's got this comeback, obviously, from AEW, from the pectoral tear, winning the Rumble, doing this, and, like, Roman's had this historic run, he's beat a bunch of people, like, where does Roman go from here? Like, I don't know, what does he do next? Like, if you have him lose, it makes sense because, oh, the bloodline's falling apart, and he'd be all aggressive and kind of doubt himself and be, lash out on Solo or lash out on Jimmy and Jay, and he could have matches against them or take time off and then come back and be like, oh, I gotta prove myself as the tribal chief, blah, 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 that kind of thing. And now I'm lost. I'm like in this weird limbo of like, okay, what do we do with Roman? And now, granted, I know the internet, granted it's Twitter, everybody on Twitter is angry, but the internet was pissed that Cody didn't win here. I will say, I understand their opinions, and I get where they're coming from. I have been there in the past. We talked about Rhea earlier. I was pissed when Charlotte won against Rhea with the NXT Championship years ago. Pissed. And I'm sure there's other moments of, just annoyance and like, I'm sure you can even check out past podcasts here where I bitch and rant about certain things happening. I get it. But I'm also getting or starting to understand the other side of like, why didn't Cody win? And Pancake was all about this too. Like, do you think Vince stepped in and changed the ending to Cody Roman? Do you think it happened last minute? Did they want Roman to get to 1,000 days? Was it the plans all along? There's a lot of factors. As of recording this morning, we did learn about Endeavor, the UFC parent company, buying out WWE for like $21 billion or something like that. 21 million? I don't know. A lot of money. And Vince, we know, is not in creative control, but he's still around, and he could have poked his hand in there. I don't think he did mess with this, personally, but I can see why that would be a thought. With the Endeavor stuff, I don't think I don't know if they would have changed that too, of like Roman has to be the guy compared to Cody. I don't know if they would have done that. Granted, I'm just one guy far on the opposite side of the planet. Who cares what I say? Now, I'm starting to understand why they made the decision for what they did. Granted, this is not like something I came up with on my own. I'm going to give all this credit to the people I heard it from, because today I was just all podcasting, wrestling related, listening to people. But I'm busted open. Both Mark Henry and Bully Ray explained something that made me rationalize it in my head. Of like, the story's not over, and how would Dusty Rhodes book this match? And they mentioned the Hard Times promo. This is Cody's Hard Times moment. Because let's think about this. Cody's come back to WWE. Great homecoming. He has 3 matches with Seth. He wins all 3 against Seth. Obviously, he has the pectoral tear. That is a down note. But not a down note because of anyone else. It's just unfortunately his body came out. He comes back at the Rumble. He wins the Rumble. What number does he win the Rumble from? 30. I know a lot of things there that we could talk about too. Wins it from 30. Keeps having these matches leading into Mania. Goes into this undefeated from this recent WWE return. And he loses to Roman. This is the first kick in the face, kick down to the ground that Cody has had since his return. Minus the injury, because obviously that, like I said, that's not because of anyone else. That's just, it happens. So this is his downfall. What happens when someone falls? You feel sympathy for them. The royal we, we were behind Cody. We want to see the tribal chief. We want to see this mountain conquered, tackled, the beast taken down. And we want someone to do that. We saw it with Sammy. Sammy gained immense support behind him. And we wanted Sammy to do it. We had him, we're behind him. We're behind him in Elimination Chamber. Obviously, it's a little different because that was also his hometown. But we wanted to see that. We cheer for these people and give them sympathy when they fall. This is another avenue to get behind Cody and raise him up and support and support and support and support. So when eventually he does conquer, it's going to feel amazing. I know I keep bringing it up, but Rhea. I know Rhea's been champion before. She's like Grand Slam women's champ. She's been NXT UK women's champ. She's been NXT women's champ. She's been Raw women's champ and now SmackDown women's champ. She's also been tag champ, but still. When Rhea finally beat Charlotte, it was like, yes, she finally did it. Like, it was this big, amazing moment of like success because Charlotte's been this barrier for her. Like, she can't surpass it, right? Granted, it's a smaller scale. I'm sure there's other better examples of it. That's going to happen when Cody finally beats Roman. It will happen. A lot of people now are like, oh, it's going to happen at SummerSlam. Who knows? It could happen at SummerSlam. It gets us behind them even more. We like want and yearn for that moment more. So when it does happen, it's just all the emotions escape. On the other side of the coin, for the people who are unhappy with that, I get the criticism of you should have pulled the trigger now. All that energy was there for Mania. Everybody was behind him. Everybody was supporting him. The energy was there. Now it's the fear of, can you get that energy back? Can you recreate that? And that's a gamble. We don't know until way down the line. And hindsight's 2020 of like, you know what, maybe we should have pulled the trigger at 39. Or it does work at SummerSlam, and SummerSlam, all the they sell out, or like ticket profits and marketing profits and all that stuff. Like, maybe that'll pay off because it'll make SummerSlam more of that it destination of like, oh my God, I have to tune in. It's not just something that's like, it's happening. Time will tell. But I can see that as a reason of like why they did this. Give Cody a setback and not necessarily have him scrap from the bottom to get back up there. Time will also tell of like, will WWE book this correctly or continue to push correctly, or will this be like the many, many missteps or failures that they've had of follow-up in the past? Time will tell. And unfortunately, it's the night after. There's no way to absolutely know if this will work or not. But if they continue to have faith behind it and continue to have the audience care for Rhodes, then once we get to that point of the rematch, hopefully, in that moment of conquering the tribal chief, taking down the mountain, the giant, whatever, you'll get that reward and that satisfaction then. Once again, I understand both sides of the argument of capturing the moment now and having that setback and that chase, as Papa Griff mentions in chat, that chase for the babyface, that hero's journey, if you want to call it that. We'll just have to see how it plays out. Now, with Roman, the question is like, where does he go from here? What does he do in the meantime? Is it a matter of dealing with the bloodline? Like, is the bloodline going to fall before we get that rematch? Like, is he going to have issues with Solo? Is he going to have issues with the Usos? Like, we'll have to see. I will say, from a viewer perspective, Like the Usos not entering with the bloodline for the main entrance. Little telling. Are they embarrassed that they lost? Are they shamed? We'll have to see. Another thing to note, Solo has been the enforcer and has been very like Stonewall with his emotions or his facial expression when he's been at ringside. And I don't know if I was just looking into it wrong, but if you look at Solo's face in the beginning of the match, he seems almost scared or concerned the entire time. Almost like a pet that you yell at, discipline because, something went wrong and they kind of cower in fear, or a small child, or, like just the backing into the corner. It seemed like almost that was the expression he had. And we've seen Roman yelling at him last week and maybe the week prior when he lost to Rhodes, and then maybe before when Roman wanted him to do something. I'm not sure. He looked perturbed during this match. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. Obviously, he carried out his duties, but I'm curious if that is starting, that friction, that break is starting to happen between Solo and Roman there too. So maybe that's where we go over this next 6 months of him, quote unquote, dealing with the bloodline, trying to save it, trying to keep it together before he becomes almost not psychotic, but like crazed, enraged within himself, similar to how we talked of like he loses the title, how he would act then, but maybe he gets too much into his head. He doesn't feel confident as the tribal chief anymore. He feels he's losing that power, and eventually when Rhodes wins at a SummerSlam or that future event, that's the final nail in the coffin, because the chief is taken down while the rest has already crumbled at his feet in a trail as he's going to this point. We'll have to see. Yeah, once again, it's one of those things of like time will tell. And to kind of wrap it up in a bow, or one more point on it of, time will tell. Think of a Daniel Bryan situation. Okay? Obviously, WrestleMania 30 was his big payoff, right? Where did that start? You could technically say it started with the Authority stuff, but if you go even farther back, and they have numerous documentaries that talk about this now and other podcasts and stuff, but Daniel Bryan's downfall was that Mania he lost to Sheamus in 18 seconds. He lost the world title in the opener, right? And that's when the people at least really started getting behind him of like, no, this is not right. And, it took a while. Don't get me wrong. It was still a few years before that WrestleMania 30 payoff where he beat Triple H, qualified for the World Title Championship shot that night, and then got into the triple threat with Batista and Orton to win. I think it was also the Unified Championship at that point. But, like, it was a long journey to get that payoff. I'm not saying Rhodes has to be that long of a journey because, once again, what do you do with Roman in the meantime? But some stories take a while to pay off, and we just have to give it time. And unfortunately, it's one of those things where we can't fairly analyze it or maybe say it was the right move, wrong move until we're far past it. And then we can have these fun debates similar to a Undertaker streak situation like everybody does. Like, was it the right move? Was it the wrong move? So right now, all I can say for people frustrated is that's like, you're valid. That's the point of this. They want you to be invested in the characters and the stories they are telling. Your passion for it and emotion for it is all in the right spot. Just go for the ride, enjoy it. It's these stories, these moments don't come as often as they should. There's a lot of bland stuff in the world of wrestling from time to time. But in a story and a journey like this, is something special. Give it some time. let them cook, as there's a lot of people are saying right now. We'll have to see where it goes from here. And I have, maybe it's bias, but I have a lot of faith going forward. Obviously, there's a lot of what's the terminology? A lot of factors right now with the buyout, with Vince, with all that stuff. If things either stay the way they are with Triple H and creative, or hopefully Vince get the hell out of there, or at some point, I have a lot of faith in the newer regime from this past SummerSlam to now to make things, to set things in a better direction. This SummerSlam to Mania session, there's been ups, there's been downs. This has been a lot of tying up loose ends, completing things that were already set in motion prior to those people getting into their position, stuff like that. Granted, not all of it. I understand. We already talked about the damage control flop. This, after Mania, this is a reset. And this is an opportunity for them to move in a positive direction for a lot of areas, whether it's the women's division, the tag division, obviously the Universal division, the Undisputed Universal Championship division, like the NXT area. I know they're kind of doing their own thing, but there's a lot of potential now. It's just going to be a matter of time to see if they can capitalize on a bunch of areas, or if it's going to be more of the same. And once again, time will tell. We'll have to see. So all in all, WrestleMania 39, I thought it was a good one. I definitely prefer night 1 over night 2, just based on the beginning of night 2, just the low note and how it felt. It also felt like it went by a lot faster than night 1, and not that night 1 was dragging on at all. It was just like, it felt like we were getting more out of it. So we'll have to see where things go from here. But I hope you guys enjoyed WrestleMania weekend. I'd be interested in talking more with you guys about your thoughts for the future, your thoughts on the event overall. If you missed anything, obviously there's a lot of wrestling that happened this weekend, at least on the WWE side. Like if you didn't watch Stand and Deliver, I highly recommend you check that out. Like I said, those guys and gals crushed it down there, and they're continuing to get better. Excited to see where they go from here with Battleground coming up in May. We also have Backlash coming up for the main roster in Puerto Rico with Bad Bunny. So we'll have to see where the storylines go from here. But this has been another episode of the Wait, What Are We Talking About podcast. My name is Bret, aka Enigma911, and you can catch this podcast live over on twitch.tv/Enigma911 each and every Sunday, usually at 8 p.m. Eastern. You join the chat, join the conversation like Papa Griff, Lady, and Rainbow did today. Have some fun with us. But if you can't catch it live, that is A-OK. Go over to YouTube and podcast services the very next week, where it's broken out topic by topic and put as one big video in MP3 for your amusement on the following Friday. Last but not least, any way you can support the show, whether it's comments, likes, sharing the podcast, or reviews. It may seem small, but it does help the channel grow, helps the show out. So if you do that, we would love you for it. Appreciate you guys hanging out today with me, giving this a watch, giving a listen, and we will see you guys on the next one. Take care.